Greetings, beloved. Hope everyone is well. My name is Dwayne. I'm a gold enthusiast. And what I would like to talk about right now is Carrot Bars. This is a company that pays you to save and go, which everyone should be doing. I am a VIP with this company. I think it's the best opportunity on the planet right now. And what I would like to get into is the importance of you and me saving and go. Now, that statement goes a long way. Carrot Bars makes it easily accessible for the average person to acquire gold savings. And the reason being is that when you save and go, you're building generational wealth. Now, beloved, I would like for you to walk with me through this process, so you can see where I'm coming from when I tell you this. For one thing, the U.S. Constitution, Article 1, Section 10, states that no state shall coin money and emit bills of credit or make anything but gold and silver a tender in payment of debts. And by the way, smash that like button. This means that only constitutional valid forms of money are gold and silver. This is called lawful money. U.S. paper money used to be redeemable in lawful money, but no more. Our monetary system is based on unconstitutional forms of money. So bear that in mind as we move forward. Now, I like to call gold God's money. And there's so many texts and chapters in the Bible that tell you that gold has value and it can be interpreted as God's means of commerce for us here on earth. I say gold is money. Now, if I take the Bible and go to Genesis, the 2nd chapter, and at the 11th verse, and I quote, it's talking about creation, and it's talking about a river that ran through the garden. And it talks about how this river broke off into 4 heads. All right, the first, the name is Pison or Pison, which is that which compasses the whole land of Havilah, where there is gold. And the gold of that land, it says, is good. Now, this is early on in Genesis, where it's showing you God is directing us and showing us what has real value. And that's gold, okay? So now we're going to continue on. And based on that premise alone, I think everyone should pay attention, okay? So now, through Carrot Bars, we get to save and gold. We get to acquire it in fragmental forms that are spendable. And this is 999.9% pure 24 karat gold. Through this company, you can acquire this gold, and when you tell others, they pay you a great referral fee by which you can acquire great wealth. And then while you're acquiring gold and telling others, which you're helping them, you're building wealth, you're helping other people, and you're learning how to make your money grow. And this is fun to watch your money grow, I would say. Plus, they have an ecosystem where they have products that help to help your money grow, because they have 8 streams of income. And they, like I say, have an ecosystem of products that help that system grow your wealth. One of them being what's called a K1 Impulse phone. And I just received mine yesterday evening. I would like to show it to you real quick. Here's my phone. Ladies and gentlemen, this is, I hope the glare isn't blocking the view of it. K1 Impulse phone. Voice over blockchain. And if you know anything about blockchain, it's the new order of things. This phone is meant to protect your privacy. This is the only unhackable phone on the market, as far as I know. You won't find this phone anywhere but at Carrot Bars. And with this phone, you can have a more economical way of being able to talk to people, peer-to-peer, international, and the fee is like $7. But you'll be paying in what is called the KBC. You'll get $7 worth of KBC per month to pay your bill. And I think that could go a long way in a lot of households. Don't you? Now listen, the KBC itself is a money stream for us here at Carrot Bars, because this is a coin. Just like Bitcoin made several millionaires in the last 9 or 10 years, this coin is going to make millionaires with a coin that's backed in gold. Now look at Bitcoin. With all the millionaires that it made, guess what? It's not backed up by anything but an idea. It's backed up with a blockchain that gives this user a chance for a peer-to-peer transaction, which is only between the two people. Your privacy is held in high regard here. Well, with this phone, your conversations are private. You don't have to worry about government agencies spying on you, the phone spying on you, or it being hacked. And I think that says a lot. And guess what? Not only do they have this phone, they have a computer that's scheduled to come out. They're starting to be shipped by the end of this month, which is February. Now, for those of you who are aware of Bitcoin, I'd like to show you something else. Now, this phone has what's called a hardware wallet. Those of you that are familiar with the Trezor, which was a hardware wallet, which you could store your Bitcoin on, guess what? There it is. With this device, you plug it into your phone, you have a hardware wallet. In other words, you have a bank, a portable bank that you can carry around with you. You can store your cryptocurrencies, your Bitcoin, your Ethereum, your Ripple, or in this case, your KBCs. And when you get done with your transaction, guess what? All you got to do is take it out of there. Just like that. And put your phone away. You have your information with you. Now, if by chance you were to lose your phone and your key, for that matter, they have a backup key that you can use, which you need to use as a backup and store your information on. And it's a red key right here. See that? I don't know if you can see the red coloring on there. All of that is meant to protect your privacy, protect your valuables. They have earbuds, for the phone, unlimited storage on the phone. Why would you not want to have this phone? Okay. But it's operating from, it's called a voice over blockchain phone. And it's the newest thing. You won't find it in any other outlet, not that I'm aware of, only through Carrot Bars. It's unique to Carrot Bars. And all it takes to be able to acquire one is to register for a free account. And as great as that is, and also don't let me forget, this is the wireless charger for the phone. So it's just a great product, and it's something that is accessible to you and me, and something that will make life, I think, a little easier and a little better. Also, of course, I told you they have a computer. It's called a WIM. It also is unhackable. This is something else to make life just a little easier. It's going to operate on the blockchain as well. Also, these fees will be paid with the KBC. And right now, the KBC is very, very affordable. They just adopted a new blockchain, which we call mainnet. And on the mainnet, you can interchange your KBCs. And the expected value of this coin is supposed to reach 1 gram of gold. That is the goal of the company. So if you can get KBCs for like a penny or a little less than a penny, doesn't it behoove you, beloved, to acquire as many as you can? Doesn't that make sense? Okay, all right, now I don't want to stay too long on that because I do want to expeditiously go through these points that I have here. Here is a book by a pastor, Harry Riley. And I have read the book. I know I'm looking at the name like, who is this guy? But I have read the book. And I have outlined some points in here that I would like to make known to you. Now, one of the main points that I start out with here is that starts out in chapter 6 where it says, your dollar has no real value. Okay? Yeah, your dollar has no real value, but gold does. One of the statements in there is that piece of paper with little to no value, the Federal Reserve calls the dollar bill a note. In fact, it calls it a Federal Reserve note. Well, in the parlance or terminology of banks, a note means a debt. And a debt is an IOU. You're saying, I owe you. So the minute you get one, you're telling somebody, I owe you. Just think about that for a minute. Now, here it is, you're working 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, to acquire a piece of paper to tell somebody else you owe them. You owe them some measurement or weight of currency or money. That's what the dollar is. So the minute you have agreed to transact in dollars, you're in debt. Point blank. Okay. Here's another point. On the other hand, in the past, we used what was called silver certificates. That clearly spelled out the terms of the contract and stated that there was a deposit in the Treasury of the United States of America, $1 in silver, payable to the bearer on demand. Now, I'm old enough to remember when $10 bills, $20 bills, it had it written on the note that it was redeemable for that amount of gold. That doesn't exist anymore, beloved. So right now, we're working for a piece of paper that tells somebody else that you owe them money. Okay? Now, in 1935, the dollar was an honest measurement in tangible items for redeeming silver, but not today. Also, the Bretton Woods Agreement of 1944, which was optional and functional by 1958. According to that agreement, gold was set at $35 an ounce. And this is where gold became the reserve currency of the whole world. This was the strength of the US dollar, the American dollar. Our way of life was based on our monetary system being based in gold. But guess what? We came off the gold standard in 1971 under President Richard Nixon. But truth be told, ever since 1913, our dollar bill has been plummeting, but especially after we came off the gold standard, especially. That punctuated the decline till today, whereas the gold has lost 95% of its value. And so I'm saying that to say that the dollar has declined 95%, and since 1913, that means that $100 of goods and services back then would equate to about $2,000 today. Okay? So now here's another point. We were taught to invest in CDs. We thought that this was a viable financial instrument in which we could acquire some wealth and some profit for our money. But in fact, if you invested in a CD, you were losing 1.5% per year for the simple reason that the inflation rate has grown 3%. So for every CD that you had that was gaining 1.5%, it only offset inflation by another 1.5%. So you were still losing. But guess what? Back in 1913, if you had taken that same amount of money and acquired gold, it'd have been worth $33,000. The reason being because gold preserves your value. It preserves your savings, and it preserves the value of your labor. And this is very important. You can buy the same thing today, which you could have bought during the Roman era, with the same measurement of gold. So let's look at some other points of interest here. The Fed produces nothing but paper, which takes away from the producer. And when I say that, when you're working on your 9 to 5 and you're working for that piece of paper, the minute you get paid, like I said earlier, you owe somebody. So this is a way of them actually stealing your wealth. And I'm sure that many people feel like, this is the acceptable way for the monetary system, but it's because we've been gradually induced into this system and thinking that this is the natural order of things, but it's not. And it's starting to show the true nature of what it is. That's why you see so much homelessness in the street. That's why you have so much poverty. And guess what? You can't outrun this inflation on a continuously declining currency. Does that make sense to you? Think about that. You can't outrun it. You'll wind up working yourself to death. You think that's what you were meant for? To work all your life and not really enjoy the fruits of your time, which is really your most valuable commodity, your time. Don't you want to spend a few moments and just, enjoying the roses, as they say? You know, watching the grass grow if that's what you like. But the point is, this is your time. This is what God gave you, your time here. Because all of us have to meet that final denominator. And you know what that is. So I just want to kind of impress that on you. Okay, so now they're stealing your wealth. And then the minute you make it, they're going to turn around and tax you so that they can print up some more of these fake financial instruments that are backed by nothing. Now tell me that's not a Ponzi scheme. Bernie Madoff couldn't have made off any better. Added to this, the Fed is concerned with the public perception. Isn't that why they don't really educate you to this in the public school system? We're taught to go to school, get an education. Why didn't they tell you this? Why don't they teach our children what money is truly supposed to represent? Matter of fact, to be honest, why don't they even tell you that in church? Now, I'm not trying to oppose anybody's belief system. You believe what you think feels right to you, okay? All I'm trying to do is bear out some facts. And what I like about facts, they're irrefutable, ladies and gentlemen. Facts, I like to say, like you've heard that saying, the truth speaks for itself, okay? Well, guess what? That's why it's good to have some grasp on history. History is fact. It's not guesswork. It's not some kind of fairy tale that somebody said that can't be established or backed up or confirmed. Facts are facts. Okay? All right. Also, second and primary concern of the Fed, they don't want to have a run on their banks. They don't want the public to panic and say, let me grab my money. Because if we do that in mass, guess what? The banks are done. This monetary system is done. So it behooves the elite that have the majority of the wealth to keep you and me unaware, unknowledgeable as to the facts of acquiring wealth, of having real wealth, of having real money. It behooves them to keep you preoccupied with things that are not going to improve your bottom line. It behooves them to keep you poor and impoverished. And that's a sad reality, friends, but it's the truth, okay? All right, moving right along. Some say that there's no scriptures that tells you right out to buy gold. And that's true, but there's hundreds of scriptures that support the fact that gold has real value. And as I read to you earlier about the gold that encompassed the land of Havilah. So gold, as I said, is God's money in my view, in my perspective. This is what real money is. And by the way, beloved, smash that like button, would you? Now, gold is God's money, and you and I need to acquire it to have some basis of stability, especially in these days. Anything you do requires you having some level of currency. Now, when we speak of currency, let's talk about money for a while and why this currency, the US dollar, is not money. Money, The number one point is money is supposed to have a store of value. And I've already showed you where in the earliest of scriptures, it's pointed out how gold has real value. For one thing, gold, it doesn't tarnish, it doesn't rust, is observed and accepted worldwide as a commodity of value. You can't burn it. You can't destroy it. It is something that it retains its value. If you were in a house that was burning and you had a safe with, or if you had your gold in the house, after the fire was finally, it was out, you could still go back and get your gold. But guess what? Your money, it might not be there when you go back to get it. I think we can all agree with that concept, okay? And it must be divisible. It must be what they call fungible. And it must be portable. So gold offers all of that. This is what makes gold money as well. It can be shaped into jewelry. It can be shaped into tools. It's used in industry. It's used in some, as a matter of fact, now I know different people have different viewpoints about religion and God and everything, but there's some tablets that are called the Sumer tablets. And it speaks of a civilization. And I'm not saying that you should believe this, but it does point to the fact of gold holding value for eons, thousands, if not millions of years. Anyway, according to these Sumer tablets, and you can look this up for yourself, there were some beings that were referred to as Anunnaki. And that word is supposed to mean those who came from heaven to earth. And these beings came here to this planet and in search of, guess what? You know it, gold. And the reason being is because their atmosphere was decaying, and according to the tale, they had a problem with the sun eroding their atmosphere, and they needed gold ground up into fine dust to patch up their atmosphere. But, be that as it may, if you want to consider it a myth, that's fine. It's still referring to how important the value of gold was even back then. And that goes back to time immemorial. All right? Okay. All right, let's move on. And this pastor that wrote this book, I think he really nailed it on a number of levels. It's a passage here from the book of Haggai, the second chapter, eighth verse. Clearly declares that silver and gold belong to God. Again, gold is God's money. So God put it here, and he put it here for us to use as money, okay? And I'm trying to really get through this. Kings. Everybody remembers King Solomon. He built a house that he dedicated to God, and what was it covered with? You guessed it, gold. He had tabernacles. What were they covered with? Gold. He had holy objects that he had in there that were made of gold. What doesn't make sense is why we're just not taught about it, okay? Okay, with that being said, I think you got the long and short of it. I already mentioned to you about King Solomon. So, more or less, I think I've stated my point. I would like to extend to each and every one of you within the sound of my voice, open up a free account, register a free account. You can't get hurt. And gold is a tier 1 asset, and has been labeled a tier 1 asset by the Bank of International Settlements. And when I say it's a tier 1 asset, it means that you have a zero chance of losing your values. You have a zero chance of loss when you acquire gold. And the amazing thing is you can exchange this bad money for good money. And then you can build a legacy for yourself and for your family if they'll listen. A lot of people can't listen because they've been so indoctrinated and programmed to think differently. But doesn't this make sense? Doesn't this even resonate with you? Can't you see that this is what China and Russia are doing? And I'm told they're telling their citizens, stockpile yourself in gold. If you believe in God, He's telling you in His book. There's nowhere in that Bible where it tells you don't acquire. It says a good man will leave an inheritance for his children in gold. So what else can I tell you? You know, what more do I even need to say? I encourage you, I'll leave a link at the bottom of this video, and I hope that you will do the prudent and wise thing to do for yourself and your family. It's been a pleasure, and my wish is that God's blessing be bestowed on all of you. Peace and love.